Welcome back. It is Free Therapy Wednesday. Every week we check in with our friend Dr. Laura Saunders for a midweek mental health boost, and this time she has some helpful advice for our relationships.
Yes, we're talking about all the ways to manage conflict. Dr. Saunders, thanks for being with us.
Well, friends, happy Wednesday.
I'm afraid to approach this subject.
I actually just said to Scott, you know the saying, it's better to be kind than right? He said, no, I've never heard that.
I actually like that. I've heard it. I do like that. And that's a little bit of kind of what we're talking about here, right? We all know those couples that say, oh, we don't fight. Those are annoying people, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But everyone has conflicts. And so it's actually not the nature of the conflict, right? There's typical conflicts. Usually it's around money and schedules and time and things like that. So there's typical conflicts. So it's not the act of having a conflict. It's how you resolve the conflict that is now kind of backed by science.
Okay. So this is interesting to me. You say direct communication is key, but that kind of counterintuitive that couples expressing anger and hostility during arguments could sometimes be predictive of a positive relationship outcome?
Right, because that's just it. You're expressing your concern, you're expressing your anger, you're expressing your frustration, you are releasing it. You're not bottling it up and then letting it explode in other ways or becoming passive aggressive. It's direct communication. I was upset when you did this, right? It's that direct communication. It's also not, finding the time to have these discussions and not just like throwing darts or fireballs, as I sometimes call them, throwing fireballs at inopportune moments as a way to get at your partner.
Well, I kind of liken it to my car. It's eventually going to have a problem, but I take it to the dealership, and it's the way that they resolve the problem as to whether or not I'm going to continue to go back to the dealership.
Exactly. So the resolution is that constructive problem solving, right? So this is the conflict. This is my communication on the conflict. And am I, being either aggressive or passive aggressive? How you solve the problem, how you go about communicating what your need is, and then solving it. And when I say solving it, there are some issues that don't really get solved,
right?
But there needs to be resolutions. There needs to be an interim plan. There needs to be, okay, I'll compromise a little on this. You'll compromise a little on that. So it really is the problem solving that's critical.
So maybe give couples a little free advice here. We love our Free Therapy Wednesday. Like if they're fighting about the same things all the time, I think sometimes it's because you feel like the other person isn't understanding why you're upset. And so you have to, how do we show them, maybe we don't agree, but how do you bring that down and be constructive or validate?
So in that situation, Kara, when you're pointing about couples fighting about the same things, often I think they're actually not fighting about money or something else. There's something underneath it,
Absolutely.
Right? So that's the direct communication piece. That's the digging a little deeper. Am I really upset that, my partner always gets up earlier than me and is a little bit loud? Or does it have more to do with the fact that I find that they're, inconsiderate at other times, right? So it's digging a little deeper about what the real issue is, as opposed to the superficial issues that we're actually arguing over.
And you say if conflicts are not properly managed or avoided, they result in negative consequences. It's like it'll affect your health.
Yeah, so there's actually research that shows that couples that learn how to resolve conflicts not only have generally happier relationships, but they live longer. So it does affect your health as well.
And how we initiate the conversation matter. So I guess you probably say we shouldn't start out with that. You. That's wrong, right?
Yeah.
I statements.
Finger pointing never works so well because it immediately makes the other person defensive, right? You start with an I statement and you find a good time. Like, I really have a couple things I want to discuss with you. Is there a time this evening or a time later today, right? Right as your partner's falling asleep is generally not a good time to bring up an emotionally laden topic. So finding a time to talk and then starting with an I statement. I feel upset when, or I was hurt when, or I'm worried about this. So it's really coming from that I statement as opposed to making your partner defensive with finger pointing.
I think it's better to be kind than right.
See? We have to give
Kara's
in a
always
little
right.
bit.
There we go.
There you go. Well, thank you, Dr. Laura Saunders. We so appreciate your time.
These are really important
Have a
skills.
great day.
And I'm going to take a deeper dive with Dr. Laura Saunders today on Kara's Cures. So you can listen to the podcast on your favorite platform, maybe listen to it with your partner. We're going to get some good advice.
Excellent. Coming up next on this Wednesday afternoon, a community where food heals. Melissa Cole's introducing us to a very special group of volunteers at Healing Meals Community Project.
Yeah, and a virtual love letter to dad. This is so cool. The Connecticut Fatherhood Initiative is here to tell us about an extra special gift you can give for Father's Day. Also lets us know how important dads are. Great Day, Connecticut. We'll be right back.